तो का चेक करो ऑनलाइन. Okay, so today we are going to learn about the interest. Correct. So what is meant by interest? What is meant by interest? What is meant by interest? क्या होता है पता नहीं. हाँ, दर्द. ओके, आवाज येतो का ऑनलाईन यूट्यूबला? ओके, सो व्हॉट इज मीन बाय इंटरेस्ट? So what is meant by interest? So if we keep some amount of money in the bank, okay, as the inflation rises, as inflation is there, correct, or their growth is there in the economy, because of which your money will grow after some time. Assume that if you have put 10,000 in the bank right now at an interest rate of interest rate of 7% per annum, or I'll say 10% per annum. So in that case your total amount would become how much? 10,000 into 10% into 1 upon 100, that will become 1,000. So whatever 10,000 money is there right now, that money will become 11,000 after 1 year. Yes or no? So whatever increase is there of 1,000 rupees, that is nothing but your interest gain on that amount. This is what we call as the interest. Now there are two types of the interest. Which are those? So there are two types of interest. Which are those? Simple and compound. So what is meant by simple interest? Can anyone tell me? सीखा था नहीं, थर्ड स्टैंडर्ड फोर्थ स्टैंडर्ड में सीखा था. सो व्हाट इज मीन बाय इंटरेस्ट? बताओ क्या होता है इंटरेस्ट? सिंपल इंटरेस्ट क्या होता है? कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट क्या होता है? हाँ, किसके ऊपर? प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट के ऊपर. तो प्रिंसिपल पे मिलते हैं इंटरेस्ट, इंटरेस्ट के ऊपर. हाँ, तो सो So when you say in what is meant by simple and compound interest, okay, so if you keep 10,000 rupees of money, correct, into bank for 2 years at an interest of 10%, so your money will grow to the 12,000, yes or no? Because in this case your 10,000 is acting as a principal, correct, and that principal is going to remain constant throughout the period, yes or no? So if I keep the money for 2 years in the bank, so my principal is going to remain as it is, as a 10,000. So that's why only 10,000, that 10,000 will grow to the 12,000. But in case of compound interest, if I keep 10,000 rupees for 2 years at an interest rate of 10%, so this money will grow to the 12,100. Why? Because in the first year this 10,000 will grow to the 11,000. In the second year your principal will get changed. Now that principal will become, instead of 10,000, it will become 11,000. So in this case your principal is getting changed, correct? So that's why your interest will also amount will also get changed. So what is the 10% on 11,000? That will become 1100. So 1100 will get added to this 11,000. So that will become rupees 12,100. So this is what? Compound interest. So in the compound interest, principal gets changed after some time period, or what can I say, interest gets added to principal, correct, interest gets added to the principal and your principal will change, correct? So this is what we call it as a compound interest. समझ में आया? Now what is the simple interest? Now if we talk about the formula, so before going on that formula we will see what is meant by principal. So could you just write down principal? So what is my principal? Write down. So this is nothing but your original money borrowed or lend, yes or no? So assume that if you are lending 10,000 or if you are borrowing, some money, that is will get changed, so that will become principal. So principal is nothing but the original sum borrowed. लिखा? And it is denoted by P. Principal is denoted by P. What is the second thing which is required in case of compound interest or simple interest? Next one is the time. So what is meant by time? It is the time for which the money is borrowed or lent to someone, correct, and it is denoted by the N. So what is time? It is nothing but the time for which money is borrowed or lent, and it is denoted by N. Got it? समझ में आया? Any issue in this? Next, what is the third case in this case? Rate of interest, correct? So what is my rate of interest? So it is the percentage charge for the lending the money or borrowed the money, correct? It is a fraction charge for borrowing or lending the money, and it is denoted by R, correct? Yes or no? समझ में आ रहा है? So what we have seen right now, principal, time and rate of interest. Yes or no? The next one is what? With these three things, what we are able to calculate? We will be able to calculate the interest. So what is meant by interest? Interest is nothing but the money paid by the or received by borrower or lender, correct? For using money for certain period of time, correct? So, and it is denoted by I. Correct? The next thing, what is the next thing in this case now? Now what is the next one? Fifth is nothing but your total amount, correct? Initially what you have borrowed or lent? Initially you have borrowed P, and interest calculated on that amount, it would become I. So what is my total amount? It is nothing but the principal plus interest, correct? So total amount is nothing but the sum of principal plus interest, correct? इतना समझ में आया? Any doubt? Shall we move ahead? लिख लिया? Now when we talk about the formula in case of simple interest, your interest is nothing but the PNR upon 100. So this is nothing but the formula for the simple interest. And what is your total amount T? Total amount T would become principal plus interest. So what is my principal P? What is my interest? PNR upon 100. So my total amount will become, if I take P as a common, then this will become 1 plus NR upon 100. So this is how I am going to calculate my total amount after some period under the simple interest, correct? Now what is, if I talk about the compound interest, Now in the compound interest there are certain things, correct? Now in case of compound interest we are assuming some period, correct? To 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, correct? Now in this case what we have considered, your money principal base is getting changed every after 1 year, yes or no? फर्स्ट ईयर में इसका प्रिंसिपल बेस कितना था? 10,000. सेकेंड ईयर में इसका प्रिंसिपल बेस कितना हो गया? 11,000. So what we are considering, this changing of the base is nothing but the consider as a compounded after some period, correct? So that is nothing but the compounded after certain period. It means I am changing my base of the principal after that time. It means your principal amount will get changed and interest will get added to that principal after that time. Now when I say compounded annually, it means your principal will get changed every after 1 year. By what amount that will get changed? It will get changed by the amount of interest received in that particular year, correct? So in this case I am receiving the interest of 1,000 in the first year, and I am saying compounded annually. It means in the next year my principal will get changed to the new principal, correct? And new principal will become what? Principal plus I. Now what is mean that new amount? In this case that new amount is nothing but your total amount, correct? Because in first year your total amount is principal is nothing but the P, but in the second year your principal will become total amount because you are compounding annually. So that is known as a you are compounding after some period. So in case of compounding interest, basically there are certain types. What is the first type? Compounded after. When we say compounded after, that may become your compounding is it after annually, that is we call it as a every after 1 year. Second one we call it as a half yearly. It means every after 6 months you are changing your principal base, correct? That is nothing but the 0.5 years or 6 months. What is my third thing? Compounded quarterly. So when I say compounded quarterly, in this case your principal get changed every after the 3 months. And what is the fourth one? Compounded, कौन सा बचा अभी? Monthly. That is every after 1 month, correct? क्या हो गया? बोल. एक क्वार्टर में कितने महीने रहते? कितने महीने रहते? कितने रहते? हाँ, 3 months, करेक्ट? सो कितने क्वार्टर हो गए एक साल में? 4 क्वार्टर, मतलब 12 डिवाइड बाय 4 कितना आता है? 3 months, करेक्ट ना? मंथली. एंड लास्ट थिंग है एक्सपोनेंशियली, मतलब आपका मनी हर एक सेकंड पे बढ़ रहा है, ठीक है? That is called the exponentially. Now we will see the formula for that. So what is my, now in this case compound interest ka formula is nothing but the interest. I cannot calculate the interest, so my total amount will become principal into 1 plus r upon 100 raised to n. So in this case if n is become 1, then you are compounding it after 1 year. No, you are calculating the interest for 1 year, correct? आपके बुक में कंपाउंडिंग का फॉर्मूला क्या दिया है? 1 प्लस आर अपॉन 100. वो आर के साथ क्या लिखा है? मतलब वो आई वांट टू यूज दैट डेजिग्नेशन ओनली. क्या यूज किया है? कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट का फॉर्मूला बता ना। अरे इंटरेस्ट का टोटल अमाउंट का फॉर्मूला क्या है, ये क्या फॉर्मूला लिखा हुआ है, देखा मॉड्यूल देखा, 2 मिनट। क्या, अरे रुक 2 मिनट। क्या होगा अगर मैंने वही नहीं लिया तो आप बोलोगे सर ने ना कुछ उल्टा पुल्टा दे दिया। चलो मैं के पकड़ता हूं, ये ले लो। So assume that k is nothing but the, you are compounding that amount every after some time. It means in a year for how many times you are compounding it. So what does it mean when I say compounding annually? Your total amount formula will become P into 1 plus RK, sorry, 1 plus R divided by K into 100 raised to Kn. It means if I am compounding annually, it means what? That K will become 1 since K is equals to 1. If I compounding हाफ ईयरली, इट मीन्स एक साल में मेरा बेस कितने बार चेंज होगा, 2 बार. सो इन केस ऑफ हाफ ईयरली दिस फॉर्मूला बिकम R upon 200 raised to 2n. So if your year is 1, so if you put n is equals to 1 in this case. If I am compounding quarterly, that will become R upon 400 raised to 4n. If I am compounding monthly, that will become 1 plus R upon 1200 raised to 12n. And if I am compounding exponentially, your total amount is nothing but the P into e raised to भूल गया यार मैं वो फॉर्मूला, P is into e raised to RT. ठीक है. So that is nothing but my compounding is happening continuously. Now E is nothing but your whereas E is nothing but 2.71832. हाँ E का वैल्यू है वो, दैट इज नोन एज अ नेचुरल नंबर, मैथमेटिकल कांस्टेंट है वो. ठीक है, समझ में आया. So your total interest formula is nothing but the P into 1 plus R upon K into 100, or I'll say K into 100 raised to K into n, whereas K equals to 1 in case of annually, 2 in case of half yearly, 4 is, and 12 is case of. And what is your formula for continuously compounded? ये फॉर्मूला हमेशा ध्यान में रखना, यह फॉर्मूला आपको बहुत कम जगह देखने को मिलेगा. समझ में आया? कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट समझ में आया? सिंपल इंटरेस्ट समझ में आया? Now, in case of simple interest, we are directly getting the interest by calculating this PNR upon 100. But in case of compound interest, we are not getting that. So, how to calculate the interest in case of compound interest? In case of compound interest, your interest is nothing but the total amount minus original principal. So, what is your total amount? P0 into 1 plus R upon 100k raised to nk minus P0. So this will become, if I take P0 as a common, then this will become 1 plus R upon 100k raised to nk minus 1. So this is the formula to calculate your इंटरेस्ट. समझ में आया? सिंपल इंटरेस्ट, कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट समझ में आया? कुछ इश्यू? एग्जाम में आपको इतना ही पूछा जाएगा सिंपल इंटरेस्ट और कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट के ऊपर. कॉपी करना है? कॉपी करना है क्या? चलो 5 मिनट में कॉपी कर लो. इस फ्राइडे कौन सा टेस्ट है आपका? मैथ्स का कौन सा टॉपिक है? 1 नंबर. मैं अगर आपकी जगह रहता तो मैथ्स में 100 ऑफ 100 निकालता. एक प्रोग्रेशन का इंटरेस्टिंग फॉर्मूला दो क्या आपको? फॉर्मूला नहीं, क्वेश्चन दो क्या? मस्त क्वेश्चन मिला है. प्रोग्रेशन ज्योमेट्री. पहले कॉपी तो कर लो. डन हो गया लिख के? Guys, after that we will go with, now we will go with some interesting concept. What is that interesting concept? टाइम वैल्यू ऑफ मनी. अगर एज्यूम करो अश्विनी के पास 10 लाख रुपए अभी, इफ शी इज हैविंग 10 lakhs of rupees and I ask her please lend that money to me, okay, I will return that money to her after 1 year. तो अश्विनी, will you lend that money to me? Will you lend that 10 lakh rupees of money to me? काय 10 लाख तर भेटू दे. मला दे. सो तेरे पास 1 लाख रुपए है, चल 10 लाख नहीं. इफ यू अश्विनी, सो अश्विनी का निकाले चेहरा. सो शी इज अश्विनी, ऑलवेज हैप्पी पर्सन, ठीक है, एंड शी इज हैविंग क्या, हाँ 2-4 बाल भी निकालने ना ऊपर, ठीक है. सो शी इज हैविंग रुपीज 1 lakh with her. Now she decided to lend that money to whom? To lend that money to Sagar. Who is Sagar? जो भी बाहर गया ना वो सागर है. तो वो सागर को उसने क्या किया, 1 लाख रुपए दिए. तो सागर ने क्या बोला, आई विल रिटर्न दिस मनी. तो इफ आई लेंड दैट मनी टू, अश्विनी डिसाइडेड सागर वालेकर, पूरा नाम लिखता हूं, ठीक है. सो अभी सागर ने बोला अश्विनी लेंड दैट 1 lakh rupees टू मी, आफ्टर 1 year आई विल रिटर्न बैक दैट 1 lakh rupees टू यू. तो विल अश्विनी एक्सेप्ट दैट ऑफर? तो विल यू लेंड दैट 1 lakh rupees टू सागर? अभी 1 लाख रुपए दूंगा और 1 साल बाद 1 लाख रुपए मुझे वापस दे दो. विल यू लेंड दैट मनी? यू विल नॉट चार्ज एनी इंटरेस्ट. तो मैंने क्या बोला यहाँ पे, यू आर गिविंग 1 lakh टू सागर एंड यू आर टेकिंग बैक 1 lakh एज इट इज फ्रॉम द सागर. सो आर यू गोइंग टू टेक दैट मनी 1 lakh? यस, बट अलॉन्ग विथ योर इंटरेस्ट और विदाउट इंटरेस्ट? वाई? Why you will take, why will you charge interest? Because he is your good friend, correct? He has helped you in lot many mathematics problem, mathematics things. So still you are going to charge your money, still you are going to charge your money to him. Still you are going to charge your money to him, or will you charge interest to him? क्या बोल रहा हूं मैं? हाँ, क्यों क्यों चार्ज करोगे? सो देर इज वन रीजन. इंस्टेड ऑफ, if Ashwini decides I will not lend that money to Sagar, she will keep that money in the, ये क्या है, बैंक. कौन सा बैंक? SBI बैंक, ठीक है. उसने डिसाइड किया कि मैं यहाँ पे रख दूंगी पैसा. सो शी विल कीप दैट मनी ओवर हियर फॉर 1 year. तो SBI वालों ने क्या बोला कि आफ्टर 1 year वी विल पे यू अलॉन्ग विद द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ 10%. सो आफ्टर 1 year शी विल गेट हाउ मच ऑफ रुपीज फ्रॉम द बैंक? 1.1 lakh, correct? So this is my present, correct? So in the present, that 1 lakh of amount will become 1.1 lakh after how many of year? 1 year. So this is what I'll call it as a future value, because this future value is nothing but that value will become in the future after some time. So this is what this is known as a future value, and this is known as a present value. Yes or no? Yes or no? करेक्ट. सो ये फ्यूचर वैल्यू का प्रेजेंट वैल्यू क्या है? 1.1 लाख का प्रेजेंट वैल्यू क्या है? व्हाट इज द वैल्यू, प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऑफ 1.1 lakh? 1 lakh. So you are agreeing that my future value is nothing but the, sorry, or that will become my future value is nothing but the my present value plus interest. Yes or no? Now my future value is equals to, what is my present value? P0, or I'll call it as a PV, plus what is my interest? Present value into, or I'll write down in a very simple form, that will become, now present value plus interest. What is my present value plus interest? It is nothing but your P0 plus I. Now in this case, we are always, in case of present and future value, we call it as a compounded, correct? We will take always consider the compound interest, correct? So if I say that money is compounded annually, this P0 plus I is nothing but the total amount. And what is your total amount formula? ऊपर लिखा है हमने, क्या है? P0 into 1 plus R upon K 100 into raised to Kn, correct? So this is nothing but my P0 into 1 plus R upon 100. Now in this case, I am assuming only for 1 year, and or I am assuming compounding annually for n number of years. So that will become what? Correct? So what is my future value formula? Future value is nothing but the P0 into 1 plus R upon 100 raised to n. Or now in this, from this formula, if I want to calculate the present value, how will you calculate the present value? Future value upon P0, नहीं P0 तो आएगा नहीं, ये जो टर्म है, ये जो पूरा टर्म है, ये टर्म कहाँ पे आएगा? यहाँ पे डिवाइड होगा, करेक्ट? यस और नो? सो क्या होगा ये? 1 plus R upon 100 raised to n. Jepa. So how will I calculate present value? How will I calculate present value? Future value upon 1 plus R upon 100 raised to n. Since it is compounded annually. Now अगर compounded k times रहेगा तो क्या आएगा present value? Future value upon 1 plus R upon 100k raised to kn. जेपा. फ्यूचर वैल्यू और प्रेजेंट वैल्यू का कंसेप्ट समझ में आया? जो फ्यूचर में अभी अज्यूम करो कि 1 साल बाद मेरे 100 रुपये रहने वाले, चलो अभी बताता हूँ. तो हमने ये एग्जांपल में क्या दिखाया कि मेरा 1.1 लाख का प्रेजेंट वैल्यू कितना हो रहा है? 1 लाख. तो अज्यूम करो कि एक एग्जांपल लेते हैं कि मेरा फ्यूचर वैल्यू, मुझे फ्यूचर में कितने रुपए लगने वाले हैं? 100 रुपीज़ आफ्टर अ पीरियड ऑफ 1 year, correct? At an interest rate of 10% and compounded annually. 1 means compounded annually na? Yes or no? So if after 1 year I would be requiring 100 rupees at an interest rate of 10% for 1 year, how much of amount I need to invest now? That is, how much of amount I invest now मतलब क्या? I want to keep that amount in the bank right now. What is that exact present amount? It is known as a present value. So I want to find out the present value of that money. Yes or no? So how will you calculate present value? Future value divided by 1 प्लस आर कितना है आपका 10%. 10% मीन्स क्या बोलता है 1.1 रेस टू 1. एक साल का है ना, तो कितना आएगा ये 100 अपॉन 1.1, तो कितना आता है ये 90 पॉइंट. निकालो ना कैलकुलेटर, मेरा चेहरा क्यों देख रहे हो अभी. 90.91. Yes or no? So this amount I need to invest right now to become a 100 rupees after 1 year. Correct? समझ में फ्यूचर वैल्यू प्रेजेंट वैल्यू. सिमिलरली दिस इज फॉर द 1 ईयर. फॉर 2 ईयर कितना करना पड़ेगा मुझे, अगर मुझे 2 साल बाद चाहिए तो व्हाट वुड बी माय प्रेजेंट वैल्यू 100 अपॉन 1.1 दो होल स्क्वायर, तो कितना आएगा ये 81 पॉइंट. तो आप 100 को 1.1 से 2 बार डिवाइड करोगे. 100 अपॉन 1.1 डिवाइड बाय 1.1 कितना आता है, या 82 आ रहा है. अरे 100 अपॉन 1.1 डिवाइड बाय 1.1. 100 कैलकुलेटर पे 100 टाइप करो, डिवाइड बाय 100 डिवाइड बाय 1.1 अगेन डिवाइड बाय 1.1. 82.64. So what is the present value of 100 rupees I am going to get after 2 years at an interest rate of 10% per annum? What is the present value? It will become 82.64. समझ में? So समझ में present value और future value कैसे निकालना है? Right now, if I want to calculate the future value of 100 rupees for 5 years at an interest rate of 10%, को क्या होगा 1.1 इंटू रेस टू 5 होगा ना. ये 1.1 कैसे आ गया 1 प्लस आर अपॉन 100. आर कितना है 10%, 10 अपॉन 100 कितना था 0.1. 1 प्लस 0.1 1.1 रेस टू 5, तो कितना आता है ये 100 इंटू 1.5 कितना आता है, कितना है 62 पॉइंट. एक मिनट, कैसे 62 1 पॉइंट आएगा ना 1.6. अरे 1.1 रेस टू 5 तो कर दो. 1.1 रेस टू 5 कैसे आएगा 1.1 इंटू इज इक्वल्स टू कितना आता है 1.6105. So that will become 161.05. So what is the future value of 100 rupees after 5 years at an interest rate of 10%? 161 rupees. झेपा, इतना समझ में आया पक्का. ओके, सो राइट डाउन. बोलना. 1.01 कुठे 1.001. हाँ हाँ. अरे राजा 1 प्लस आर क्या होता है, 1 प्लस आर कितना दे रहा है अभी यहाँ पे 10% डिवाइड बाय 100 क्या होता है ये 10% मतलब क्या होता है, क्या अरे 10% मतलब क्या होता है 10% इज नथिंग बट 0.1. तो 10 अपॉन अगर परसेंटेज में लिख रही है तो 10 अपॉन 100 लिखेगी, अगर पॉइंट में लिख रही है तो क्या आएगा 0.1 आएगा. समझा? कॉपीड. कहाँ से कॉपी करना है आपको, ये कंपाउंडेड आफ्टर ये हुआ था, ये टाइम वैल्यू ऑफ मनी से चालू करना है ना. चलो निकालो.